All right, well, welcome to the first video. Bear with me, first video, no idea what I'm doing. So first thing I'm gonna start off with today is the basic pizza dough. So I have almost everything assembled here, what I'm gonna be using. I'm giving props to Food Network for this recipe. I've used it many times, it's pretty good. I've never had any issues with it since I started using it. So let's start off with the basics. Okay. You are on top of a muffin, or on top of a loaf pan right now, so very small kitchen, gotta work with what I have. Okay, so what we're gonna start off with is your basic pizza dough recipe. So what you're going to want to do is have two separate bowls. Sorry, you're only going to see half me because of the height of this. So what I have here with me now is warm water. I have it temped at 105. Try not to go any higher, only because this is a yeast-based dough. So try not to go above the 105, or else you never know what's going to happen. So right now I've got the 105 water. I'm going to pour it into a bowl right now. Let me just turn this on my thermometer off so I don't waste it. Oh, okay. Okay. And what else I'm going to add to is a tablespoon of sugar. So I got some sugar here. So I'm gonna put that in. And then I'm just gonna grab a whisk. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna whisk that all together. Kind of just so that the sugar will disappear. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is, what I have here is 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry active yeast. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna sprinkle the yeast on top. Okay, and now it's very important, we're gonna let this sit aside for about 10 minutes and just until you notice that it's kind of foamy. So we're gonna set this aside now for 10 minutes. Right here. Try not to disturb it. Okay, so now I got my KitchenAid mixing bowl right here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add 3 3/4 a cup of flour. Okay, so gonna measure out the flour here. I have it right here beside me on my couch. Like I said, bear with me. This is my first video, so I used to be really good at public speaking as a kid, but I don't really have to do it that often anymore, so it's still kind of new to me, considering I work with the public every day. Okay, so you're gonna come up, I guess. And I can't sweep you off of your feet. Remember the taste of my love. Okay, so I have 1 3/4 cup of flour in here, and now I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I got my salt right here. kind of do it this way. Okay, so that's 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Just gonna grab a fork. Normally I am prepared for all this stuff, but first movie, give me a break. Hello. Okay, so kind of mix that around. Just kind of incorporate the flour and the salt together. And what you can do, if you can, try to make a well in the center. I'm gonna show you what this well looks like. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're just gonna do like that, just so you can, once you have the yeast mixture, which the water, the sugar, and the yeast, put that in there, and then you're gonna pretty much blend it all in together. And we're just gonna wait a couple more minutes on the yeast. It's got about 3-4 minutes left to go, and we'll be back. Okay, so we're back now, and I'm looking at the yeast right now in the bowl. As you can see here, it's really hard to tell, but it has started foaming up at the sides a bit. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add this to the flour and salt. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put this back here. Okay. So you can see it's started foaming here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this to the dough, or to the flour and salt. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, so there's the 3 tablespoons of olive oil in there. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to whisk it together. I'm going to suggest next, we're going to use a wooden spoon next time I do this. I did not think this out properly when I was doing this, that I'm going to use a wooden spoon, so I'm going to try to get as much off the whisk as I can. Yeah. Okay, and what I've done now is I've got my dough on a lightly floured my kitchen table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knead. I don't mind the music in the background. I like having music while I'm working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knead this together about 5 minutes. If you need more flour on the table, feel free to add it. So this is what I've done. Knead this for about 5 minutes. So just, if you need to add more flour, if you notice that your dough is sticking to your table, always make sure you have some with you. I have a measuring cup full here, some here right now. And this recipe is actually gonna do about 2 dough balls. Some more flour. Some more on the table. And another thing with this recipe, you can either use it right away or you can freeze it. It'll stay in the freezer for about a month. So if you know, like you're doing pizza one night with your family, I would say take it out the day before, because you'll want it has to obviously come to room temperature. And I say thank you very much to everybody for bearing with me through this. It's my first time doing this type of video. Definitely got to give props to Chef Scott for kind of walking me through the whole process of filming videos and stuff. I haven't spoken in public for many, many years. So, okay. Okay, so this looks like it's coming together nicely. So, I'm just gonna kind of try and soak up some of this flour on the table. And when I post these videos, they're obviously going to be in chunks because I still have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to posting. Never done this before, so just gonna, okay. So what I've done here now is I've just kind of, I'm smoothing it out. And what I'm going to do is now just kind of make kind of I'm going to try and form it into an even ball so that when it comes time to splitting it, because as I said, this is going to make at least 2 dough balls. So what I've done is I've just put a little bit more flour down on the table, a little more flour on the dough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a knife. We're going to split it down the center. So that it'll make 2 dough balls. So now I've got 2 dough balls here, and when I come back I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the rest of it with these 2 dough balls. Okay, I'll see you soon. Alright, and we're back. So now what I've got here is I've got 2 separate bowls. We're going to put each of the dough balls into one each. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some olive oil in these. And then what I'm going to do is put them in the bowl and kind of saturate them in the olive oil. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is we're going to get some plastic wrap. We're going to wrap them tightly. They're going to sit for about an hour and a half, just till they double in size. And then what you can do is you can either use it fresh right away or you can put it in the freezer up to a month. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't plan on making pizza for a while, I'm going to wrap them tightly, let them rise for the hour and a half, and then I'll show you what the finished product looks like. What I'm going to do afterwards is put it in the plastic wrap, put it in the freezer. Make sure you always date the way you put it in, because it's good in the freezer for a month, but just make sure that you date everything. So I will see you back here with the finished product in an hour and a half. All right, so it's been an hour and a half. Sorry, I got Carrie Underwood on in the background. And our dough looks amazing. So you see how much it's really puffed up? So now what you can do is you can either use it fresh, which I'm not going to because I have no plans on making pizza tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wrap it up, date it, put it in the freezer, and it's good for up to a month. So hopefully this was able to help you learn some stuff. Obviously it's new to me. So I want to thank you very much for joining me for my first video. I'm gonna do 1 video a week. 2 videos is a little too much for me personally. So I'm just gonna do my best and come up with different recipes and everything that I can work on through the week. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.